Qatar gave Donald Trump a massive $400 million airplane. And a lot of people were saying, well, this is broad daylight bribery because Qatar is a massive donor to terrorist groups such as Hamas. And they are saying they are doing this in order to bribe Donald Trump and basically get the best out of him. Personally, I don't believe that. However, I think that if I was Donald Trump, I would have my intelligence scan that airplane because that airplane might be bugged. It might be a Trojan horse. So I wouldn't trust that airplane. I would have my security team scan that airplane inch by inch to see if there are any recording devices, there's anything in that plane, because anything could be possible. I wouldn't trust the Qataris, right? However, I agree to this extent that if someone gave me a 400 million pound plane, I would accept it. Okay, and maybe this is a nice gesture by the Qataris because they want to start cooperating with America and they want to stop funding terrorists. Qatar doesn't have a great track record because they were housing Hamas terrorists and funding Hamas, which led to the attacks of 7th of October. So they are in direct contrast and direct enemies with the United States. However, Donald Trump's visit to the Middle East is part of a bigger plan because apparently he just signed a $400 billion security agreement with Saudi Arabia, in which America is going to sell Saudi weaponry. And if you remember, the Abraham Accords were very close to being signed before Donald Trump left office. So his visit to the Middle East could be a monumental movement in bringing peace in the region and also isolating Iran. Because if the Saudis agree to join the Abraham Accords, and if you don't know what the Abraham Accords are the normalizing of relations between the Arab countries and Israel. And if that happens, that would isolate Iran. And I think one of the main reasons America is, or Donald Trump is going to the Middle East in these next few days, is to get these countries to sign the Abraham Accord to normalize relations with Israel. And that is a great move. Whether it's going to happen is to be seen. I think Saudi has stated something like, oh, they want a independent state for Palestine, but personally, I do not believe in a two-state solution because Palestinians were given 4 different opportunities to have a state and they rejected it every time. So I just don't think a two-state solution is a viable solution anymore. It's said that Donald Trump is in talks or is in direct talks with Netanyahu. So that will be a possibility that they sign the Abraham Accords, but Donald Trump is not also stupid. But I think maybe this visit is more to align the Arab or the Gulf countries with American foreign policy. And I think this the agreement that they just signed with MBS is a right step in the right direction. And let's not forget that Saudi has had massive reforms in recent years. Okay, they've had massive reforms. So, women couldn't drive in Saudi Arabia into 2018, but now they are, they can do anything basically. They can dress however they want, they can drive. And Saudi Arabia is quickly progressing to become one of the most advanced nations in the world. They have a lot of investments from all kinds of different companies, from AI to building this city called The Line, which is just absolutely amazing. And I think MBS is a very forward-thinking leader. And recently, he banned all public displays of support for Palestine in his country. Can you imagine a country that is the birthplace of Islam and is full of Arabs doesn't allow support for Palestine? Which makes you think how backwards are our leaders in Europe and in the West. So we shall see. However, if I was Donald Trump, I would take the Qataris with a grain of salt. Okay?